The galaxy was in panic. Across thousands of star systems, fear spread like fire. Trade ships stopped moving. War fleets stayed on alert. Messages flooded every channel. Something was wrong. Something impossible. At the center of it all was the dragon Empress. She was not just a ruler. She was power itself. Her empire was the strongest in the galaxy. No one dared to challenge her. Entire worlds bowed without question. Her name alone was enough to stop wars before they even began. But now, she was dying, and no one understood why. Inside the grand royal palace, silence filled the massive halls. The air felt heavy. The golden pillars, once shining with energy, now seemed dull. Guards stood still, not speaking. Servants walked softly, afraid to make even the smallest sound. At the center of the palace, in a vast chamber, the dragon Empress lay still. Her massive body rested on a bed made of rare crystals. Her wings, once wide and powerful, were folded weakly at her sides. Her scales had lost their shine. Her breathing was slow. Very slow. In front of her, long tables were filled with food. The best food in the entire galaxy. Royal chefs from over 100 worlds had come. They brought everything. Giant beasts from lava planets, rare fruits that held pure energy, dishes that could heal wounds instantly, ancient recipes lost for thousands of years. Each meal was perfect. Each dish was prepared with care. Each one was tested to be safe. But it did not matter. She rejected them all, one by one. The servant stepped forward. "Your Majesty, please eat." No response. Another servant tried. "This dish comes from the crystal world. It restores energy." Nothing. A third stepped forward, shaking. "This fruit, it is sacred. It can heal anything." Still nothing. The Empress did not even open her eyes. Days passed. Then more days. Then weeks. The situation became worse. Her flames, once bright enough to light entire skies, became weak. Sometimes they did not appear at all. Her body temperature dropped. Her power faded. Even the air around her felt empty. In another chamber, the royal doctors gathered. They looked tired. Scared. Confused. One of them spoke, his voice low. "We have tested everything." Another nodded. "Her body is not damaged." A third added, "There is no poison, no disease, no injury." Silence filled the room. Then the oldest doctor spoke. His voice was heavy. "If she does not eat soon." He paused. No one wanted to hear it. "She will die." Those words spread quickly, across the palace, across the empire, across the galaxy. Planets that depended on the Empress began to panic. Some leaders started preparing for war. Others tried to form alliances. Pirates became more active. Enemies began to watch closely. Waiting. The strongest empire in the galaxy was starting to fall. Far away from all of this, on the edge of known space, there was a small, forgotten station. It was old. Quiet. Ignored by most. No one important ever came here. No one powerful cared about it. And on that station lived a man, a human. His name was Ethan. Ethan was not special. He had no power. No status. No army. He was just a single father trying to survive. Every day, he worked long hours, fixing broken machines. Carrying heavy cargo, doing any job he could find. The pay was low, but he did not complain. He had someone to take care of, his daughter. She was young. Small. Full of life. She smiled even when things were hard. She trusted him, and that mattered more than anything. Every night, Ethan came home tired. His hands were rough. His clothes were worn. But when he saw his daughter, he smiled. That night was no different. The station lights flickered as usual. The air system made strange noises. Everything felt normal. Simple. Quiet. Ethan looked at the small food supplies he had left. Not much. Just some bread, a little meat, small amount of sauce. He sighed. Not the best meal. His daughter looked at him with bright eyes. "It's okay, Dad," she smiled. "I like your food." Ethan smiled back. He started making a sandwich. Slowly. Carefully. He placed the bread, added the meat, spread the sauce. Evenly. He made sure everything was just right, not because it was fancy. But because it was for her. When he finished, he handed it to his daughter. Here you go. She took a bite. Her face lit up. It's really good. Ethan laughed softly. For a moment, everything felt okay. But far above the station, something strange happened. A Royal Scout ship was passing through the area. It was not there for anything important, just routine scanning. Normal work. Inside the ship, a sensor officer frowned. Wait. He looked at the screen again. That's not possible. Another officer walked over. What is it? The first one pointed. Energy reading. Coming from the station. The second officer looked confused. That place? That's just a low-level station. The first shook his head. No. This is different. The numbers on the screen changed rapidly. Spiking. Growing. Unstable. Unknown energy signature detected. The system spoke. The officers stared at each other. Source? The answer came. A food item. Silence. Food? Yes. They zoomed in. Focused the scan. Tracked the signal. It led to a small room. Inside. A human. Holding a simple sandwich. Back at the palace. Something moved. For the first time in weeks. The dragon Empress opened her eyes. The room froze. Servants stopped breathing. Guards stood still. No one moved. Slowly. Very slowly. She lifted her head. Her nose moved slightly. She inhaled. A scent. Faint. Far away. But clear. Something different. Her eyes sharpened. For the first time in days. There was life in them. Hunger. Not for power. Not for rare food. But for something else. Something simple. Something human. And across the stars. A single sandwich had just changed everything. The small station was quiet. To quiet. Ethan did not notice it at first. He was sitting with his daughter, cleaning up after their simple meal. The empty plate was on the table. Only a small piece of the sandwich was left. His daughter smiled. That was really good. Dad. Ethan nodded. I'll try to make a better one tomorrow. He stood up, about to wash the dishes. Then a loud sound shook the entire station. Boom. The lights flickered. The walls vibrated. Ethan froze. His daughter grabbed his arm. Dad, what was that? Outside the window, a massive shadow covered the station. It blocked the stars. Slowly, a huge ship appeared. Dark. Silent. Powerful. Ethan single quotes as face turned pale. That's not a normal ship. Before he could react, alarms started ringing. Voices echoed through the station. Speakers. Unknown vessel detected. High level. Military presence confirmed. Remain calm. But no one was calm. People began to run. Doors slammed. Shops closed. Fear spread. Quickly. Ethan picked up his daughter. It's okay. Stay with me. Heavy footsteps echoed in the hallway. Then bang. The door to his room was forced open. Royal guards stepped inside. Tall. Armored. Silent. Their armor shined with the symbol of the Dragon Empire. Ethan's heart started beating fast. He stepped back. I didn't do anything. The guards did not answer. One of them stepped forward. His voice was cold. You will come with us. Ethan shook his head. Why? What did I do? No reply. Another guard pointed at the table. At the sandwich. Ethan looked confused. This? It's just food. The guard stepped closer. Bring it. Ethan hesitated. Then slowly, he picked up the sandwich. His hands were shaking. His daughter held his shirt tightly. Dad, don't go. Ethan knelt down in front of her. He forced a small smile. I'll be back. I promise. He did not know if that was true, but he had to say it. The guards took him away. The station became smaller and smaller as the ship left. Ethan stood inside the large ship, surrounded by soldiers. Everything felt unreal. The walls were made of metal he had never seen before. The air felt heavy. The silence was uncomfortable. He looked at the sandwich in his hands, still warm, still simple. He whispered to himself, this makes no sense. Hours passed, or maybe minutes. He could not tell. Finally, the ship stopped. The doors opened. Bright light filled the room. Ethan stepped out. And froze. In front of him was the royal palace. It was massive. Far beyond anything he had ever seen. Golden, Towers reached into the sky, energy flowed through the walls like light. Guards stood everywhere. Watching. Waiting. Ethan felt small. Very small. They walked him inside. The halls were silent. Every step echoed. People watched him as he passed. Kings from other worlds, generals in heavy armor. Scientists with strange devices. All of them turned to look at him, a human. Nobody. Whispers filled the air. That's him? This is the one? It doesn't make sense. Ethan lowered his head. He did not understand anything. Finally, they reached the main chamber. The doors opened slowly. Inside, everything was quiet. At the center of the room, the dragon Empress waited. She looked even weaker than before. Her massive body rested on the crystal floor. Her wings barely moved. Her eyes were half closed. The entire court was there. No one spoke. No one moved. Ethan felt his legs shake. A guard pushed him forward. Step closer, Ethan. Walk slowly. Each step felt heavy. His heart was racing. His hands trembled. The sandwich was still in his grip. He stopped a few steps away from the Empress. Silence. No one breathed. One of the royal scientists spoke softly. Present the item. Ethan swallowed slowly. He raised the sandwich. This is it. Nothing happened. The Empress did not move. A few people in the court looked disappointed. Others looked confused. This was a mistake. Just a human. Then something changed. The Empress moved, very slowly. She lifted her head. The entire room froze. Her eyes opened. Fully. They locked onto the sandwich. Ethan stopped breathing. The air in the room grew heavy. The Empress took a slow breath. Then another. Her nose moved slightly. She was smelling it. The sandwich. The simple sandwich. Her eyes widened. Low sound came from her chest. Not anger. Not pain. Something else. Hunger. The ground beneath them trembled. Energy began to rise in the air. The lights flickered. People stepped back in fear. This has never happened. The Empress moved again slowly. She stood up. Her massive body shook slightly. But she stood, step by step. She walked toward Ethan. Each step made the floor vibrate. Ethan could not move. He stood there, frozen, the sandwich still in his hand. The most powerful being in the galaxy was walking toward him. She stopped right in front of him. Close enough that he could feel her breath. It was warm. Weak. But real. Her eyes were fixed on the sandwich. Nothing else mattered. Not the kings. Not the generals. Not the empire. Just that. She leaned closer. Inhaled deeply. The room shook. Energy pulsed through the air. For the first time in weeks, the dragon Empress showed something no one had seen. Not power. Not anger, but pure hunger. And in that moment, everyone understood. This human, this simple sandwich, was not normal. It was something else. Something the entire empire could not create, and everything was about to change. The entire royal chamber stood still. No one moved. No one spoke. All eyes were on one thing. The sandwich. The dragon Empress lowered her head slowly. Her massive form towered over Ethan. Her glowing eyes stayed fixed on the small food in his shaking hand. Ethan could feel the heat of her breath. His heart pounded hard. He did not understand what was happening. But he knew one thing: he could not pull back now. Slowly, very slowly, he raised the sandwich a little higher. For you, he whispered. The Empress did not hesitate. In one smooth motion, she opened her jaws. The entire court held its breath. Then she took the sandwich, gone in a single bite. For 1 second, nothing happened. Silence. Deep silence. A few people lowered their heads. Some looked away. Others whispered quietly. Nothing changed. It was just food. Then a sound broke the silence. Boom. A wave of energy exploded from the Empress. The ground shook. The walls trembled. The air itself seemed to crack. Ethan fell back slightly. Shocked. Light burst from the Empress's body. Golden. Bright. Powerful. Her scales began to glow again. The dull color disappeared. They shined like burning Gold. Her wings spread wide. Larger. Stronger. Full of life. Flames burst from her mouth. Not weak anymore, but strong. Wild. Alive. The entire chamber was filled with heat and light. People stepped back in fear. Some guards raised their weapons. Others dropped to their knees. This is impossible. The royal scientists rushed forward. Their devices activated instantly. Scanning. Recording. Analyzing everything. Energy levels rising rapidly. Core power restored. No, more than restored. It's increasing. The Empress let out a deep breath. A wave of fire rolled across the ceiling. But it did not destroy anything. It felt controlled. Balanced. Alive. Slowly. She lowered her wings. Her breathing became steady. Strong. Her eyes, now bright and sharp, looked around the room. She was back. No, she was stronger than before. The court was in shock. Kings stared in disbelief. Generals looked confused. Scientists could not speak. All of this from one simple sandwich. The head scientist stepped forward quickly. We need to examine the source. He turned to Ethan. Give us the ingredients. Now, Ethan blinked. It's just normal food. Tell us. Ethan spoke slowly. Bread. Some cooked meat. A little sauce. The scientists looked at each other. That's not enough. They grabbed the remaining crumbs, scanned them, tested them. Minutes passed. Then more minutes. Finally, one of them spoke. His voice was shaking. There is nothing special. Silence. Another scientist checked again. Composition is normal. A third one added. No rare elements. No hidden energy. No unknown material. They all looked confused. This should be impossible. The head scientist turned toward the Empress. Your Majesty, this makes no sense. But the Empress did not answer. Her eyes were now on Ethan. Calm. Focused. Curious. She stepped closer. The ground shook slightly with each step. Ethan felt nervous, but something about her presence had changed. It was no longer heavy. No longer cold. It felt warm. She spoke. Her voice was deep. Strong. But gentle. You made this? Ethan nodded slowly. Yes. How? Ethan looked confused. I just made it. The court waited. The Empress continued. What did you put into it? Ethan thought for a moment. Nothing special. He looked down, then said quietly, I made it for my daughter. The room went silent again. He continued, she likes it this way, so I always make it the same. The scientist frowned. That is not an answer. But the Empress raised her head slightly, stopping them. Continue? Ethan swallowed. I don't have much, so I try my best. He looked at his hands. I make sure it tastes good, even if it's simple. He paused. I just want her to be happy. Silence filled the chamber. No one spoke. The words were simple, very simple, but something about them felt different. The Empress closed her eyes for a moment. Then she spoke again slowly. It is not the food. Everyone looked at her. It is what is inside it. The scientist looked confused. There is nothing inside it. The Empress opened her eyes. They glowed softly. There is. She took a slow breath. Care. The room stayed silent. Love. No one moved. Survival. The guards lowered their weapons. Sacrifice. The words echoed through the chamber. The Empress looked around. At the kings. At the generals. At the scientists in this empire. We have power. Her voice was calm, but strong. We have knowledge. She looked at the scientists. We have strength. She looked at the guards. But we do not have this. Her gaze returned to Ethan. A simple act, done not for power. She stepped closer. But for someone else. Ethan stood still. He did not fully understand, but everyone else was starting to. The Empress turned slightly. Looking at the court. That is why I could not eat. Shock spread across the room. All the food was empty. The chefs lowered their heads. It had no meaning. Silence. But this, she looked at Ethan again. This is different. The energy in the room felt calm now. Balanced. Not forced. Not artificial. Real. The Empress stood tall, stronger than ever. And for the first time, The greatest power in the galaxy had learned something new. Not from a king, not from a warrior, but from a human, a simple father, holding nothing more than a sandwich made with love. The news spread fast. Faster than light, faster than war, across the galaxy. Every system heard the same message. The Dragon Empress had recovered. Not only recovered, but become stronger. And the reason, a human. At first, many did not believe it. It must be a lie, some kind of trick. No human can do that. But the reports were clear. Confirmed by many sources, a simple human, the single father, had done what an entire empire could not. Fear began to grow. In hidden rooms and dark stations, powerful leaders gathered. They spoke in low voices. Serious. Careful. Double quotes. If this is true, then humans are not weak. Another voice added, if they can affect the Dragon Empress, they can affect power itself. Silence followed. Then one final voice spoke. Cold. Sharp. Dangerous. Then we cannot allow them to exist freely. And just like that, a decision was made. Far away, in the royal palace, things were calm. For the first time in weeks. The Empress stood strong again. Her presence filled the halls. Her energy returned balance to the empire. But not everything was peaceful. Extra guards were placed. Security increased. Ships were sent to patrol nearby space. Because everyone knew something was coming, Ethan stayed in the palace, not as a prisoner anymore, but not fully free either. He was given a room. Clean. Safe. His daughter was with him. That was all that mattered. She looked around with wide eyes. Dad, this place is so big. Ethan smiled slightly. Yeah, it is. But inside, he still felt uneasy. This is not our world. That night, everything changed. Without warning, the alarms screamed. Intruders detected. Enemy ships approaching. The sky above the palace lit up. Explosions flashed in the distance. Ethan rushed to the window. His eyes widened. Dark ships filled the sky. Fast. Silent. Deadly. They're attacking. The palace shook. Guards ran through the halls. Weapons ready. Orders shouted. Protect the Empress. Secure all sectors. Find the human. Ethan's heart dropped. They're coming for me. His daughter grabbed his hand. Dad, I'm scared. Ethan looked at her, then took a deep breath. It's okay. But he knew. It was not okay. The doors burst open. Guards entered. But not royal guards, enemy soldiers. Their armor was dark, their weapons glowing. Target located. Ethan stepped back, holding his daughter behind him. I'm not going with you. The soldiers moved forward. Capture him. Ethan looked around. No escape. No weapon. No help. Just him and his daughter. His hands trembled, but he did not move away. Stay behind me, he whispered. The soldiers got closer. One raised his weapon. Do not resist. Ethan clenched his fists. I won't let you take her. The soldier paused, confused. She is not the target. Ethan shook his head. Doesn't matter. Silence. Then the soldier attacked. Ethan reacted instantly. He pushed his daughter aside, grabbed a nearby object, swung it with all his strength. It barely did anything. The soldier did not fall, but Ethan did not stop. Again. And again. He knew he was weak. He knew he could not win. But he did not run. He stood there. Fighting. Protecting. Even as he was pushed back. Even as he fell to the ground. He got up again. Dad, his daughter cried. Ethan turned slightly. Stay back. Another soldier moved toward her. Ethan saw it. And something changed. Fear disappeared. Only one thought remained. Protect her. He rushed forward, threw himself between them. The attack hit him hard. He fell. But still, he did not move away. The soldiers hesitated. This human, why is he still fighting? Across the palace, another presence watched everything. The Dragon Empress. She stood high above. Looking down, she saw it all. The attack, the chaos. The fear. But most of all, she saw Ethan, a weak human. With no power. No strength. Standing against soldiers, not for himself, but for others, for his daughter, for anyone near him, even when he was losing, even when he was hurt. He did not stop. The Empress's eyes narrowed. Now she understood fully. Not strength. Not power. Not knowledge. This was what made humans different. Heart. A deep. Unbreakable. To protect. To care. To stand, even when they should fall. The Empress took a step forward. The air changed. Energy gathered around her. Slowly at first, then faster. The sky darkened. The ground trembled. The enemy ships paused. What is that energy? The Empress spread her wings. Massive. Powerful. Flames burst around her. Not wild. Not uncontrolled. Focused. Purposeful. She spoke, her voice echoing across the battlefield. You came for what is mine. The enemy ships prepared to fire. Delayed. In one moment she moved. A wave of fire filled the sky. Ships exploded instantly. No warning. No chance. On the ground enemy soldiers froze. Then they were gone. Burned. Destroyed. The attack ended in seconds. Silence returned. Smoke filled the air. Ethan lay on the ground, breathing hard. His daughter ran to him. Dad, I'm okay. He looked up. The Empress stood above. Strong. Calm. Unshaken. But her eyes were not filled with anger. They were soft. Understanding. Because now she did not fight for power. She fought to protect. Just like him, the war ended. As quickly as it had begun. It was over. The sky above the palace became quiet again. The enemy ships were gone. Only light remained. Smoke slowly faded. The ground stopped shaking. The alarms went silent. Across the empire, the news spread once more. The attack has failed. The Dragon Empress is stronger than ever. The palace is safe. Fear disappeared. Hope returned. Planets that were ready for war now stood down. Leaders who were afraid now felt relief. The empire was stable again. Inside the palace, things were calm, but different. Ethan sat in a quiet room. His daughter rested beside him. He had been treated for his injuries. Nothing serious, but his body was still weak. His daughter held his hand. You were really brave, Dad. Ethan smiled softly. I was just scared. She shook her head. No. You protected me. Ethan looked at her. For a moment, he said nothing. Then he spoke. Quietly. That's my job. A soft sound came from the door. It opened slowly. Royal guards stood outside. Her Majesty requests your presence. Ethan took a deep breath. It's time. He stood up. His daughter stayed close. They walked through the halls again. But this time, everything felt different. People did not whisper. They did not stare with doubt. They looked at him with respect. The same kings. The same generals. The same scientists. All silent. All watching. But now, with new eyes, the doors to the main chamber opened. The Dragon Empress stood at the center. Not weak. Not tired. Strong. Radiant. Alive. Her wings were folded calmly. Her golden scales shined brighter than ever. The entire court was present. Ethan walked forward slowly, his daughter beside him. They stopped before the Empress. Silence filled the room. Then the Empress spoke. Her voice was clear. Strong. And calm. The war has ended. Everyone listened. Our enemies came with fear. She looked around the chamber. They believed something dangerous had appeared. Her eyes moved toward Ethan. They were right. Murmurs spread softly. But the Empress raised her head. Not dangerous to destroy. Her voice softened, but dangerous to ignore. Silence returned. She stepped forward. For too long, we have judged humans as weak. The kings lowered their heads. We measured them by power. The generals remained still. We measured them by strength. The scientists said nothing, but we were wrong. The Empress turned fully toward the court. Humans possess something we do not. She paused. Something we cannot create. Her voice became deeper. Heart. The word echoed through the chamber. Care. Silence. Love. No. One moved. Sacrifice. Ethan stood quietly. His daughter held his hand tightly. The Empress raised her wings slightly. Because of this, her voice grew stronger. I make this declaration. The entire chamber waited. From this day forward. A pause. Humans are no longer a weak species. Shock spread across the room. They are honored allies of the Dragon Empire. Double quote silence. Deep silence. Then slowly. The court bow. Kings. Generals. Scientists. All of them. Not to the Empress, but in acceptance of her words. Ethan looked around. He did not expect this. He did not ask for this. The Empress turned back to him. You, Ethan, looked up. You have changed this empire. He shook his head. Slightly. I didn't do anything. The Empress stepped closer. You did. She looked at his daughter. And you reminded us. What we lost. Ethan stayed silent. Then the Empress spoke. Again you will be rewarded. The court. Straighten. Wealth. Servants. Step forward. A high position. Generals. Watch closely. A place among the highest ranks. The offer was clear. Power. Status. A new life. All eyes turned to Ethan. He looked at his daughter, then back at the Empress. He took a small breath and shook his head. I don't want that. The room froze. What? I just want a simple life. He looked down at his daughter. With her, silence filled the chamber again. No one expected that answer. The Empress stared at him. Then something changed slowly. She smiled. Not a ruler's smile. Not a powerful smile. But a real one. Warm. Soft. Understanding. For the first time, she spoke quietly. I understand. She stepped back. Then, your wish will be honored. Ethan felt relief. His daughter smiled. The Empress raised her head once more. A place will be created. The court listened. For humans, she continued. Not as servants. The guards stood still. Not as workers. The kings remained silent. But as equals. The words echoed across the chamber, and across the empire. Time passed. The galaxy changed. Slowly, humans were no longer ignored. No longer seen as weak. They were respected. Not for their strength, but for something greater. And in the Grand Palace. Sometimes, when the halls were quiet, when no one was watching, the Dragon Empress would wait. Not for a battle. Not for power. But for something simple, a small moment, a familiar scent, and in those quiet times, the most powerful being in the galaxy still waited for a simple sandwich made by a human father.